Hello. For many parts of the UK, Thursday turned into a very warm day indeed. And generally speaking, Friday is going to be even warmer. In fact, it is likely to be hot for some, potentially the highest temperatures of the year so far. We could see highs of 31 degrees. With that, though, quite a humid feel. It's all down to the jet stream.
I hate you, jet stream. Not a cloud in the sky. It's morning and it is already sweltering. I can tell I'm going to struggle today. There's a reason why I originally had this planned for May, and that's because I don't do well in heat. But I had a knee issue in May, which meant that couldn't go ahead, and I had to retrain and push it back to the hottest time of the year. Alas, that's just how it be. I put my water bottles in the fridge overnight, so hopefully that helps a little. Bit of camera work, Luke. And I mean, that'll only work for so long, right? They'll warm up quite quickly, but let's see. Pray for me. And so I set off at around 11 AM, optimistic that the breeze from the cycling will cool me down, but also aware that the temperature is still going to rise throughout the day. So what was my plan for today? What route was I going to take? Well, let me show this to you with my masterful skills in graphic design. My plan was to go just up there. That was it. That was my plan. Yeah, I was just gonna, make it up as I went along. But after not long, I was out of the city, and I found that I was not the only one struggling with the heat today. Look at these cows. They all have their own little fans going on. They were having a great time, I assume. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Though it may come to surprise you that despite now being almost a week into this journey, I'm only just really appropriately managing my energy levels. One thing I am trying to improve on is my glucose levels. So, I know this is probably obvious to a lot of people, but glucose is the most easily available and readily taken up source of energy for muscles, and it's found in the cells, but once it's gone, your body then has to find alternative sources of energy. First it goes to glycogen. That takes a bit longer to break up, so your muscle cells can get energy, but at a bit of a slower rate. And then once that's gone, you're onto your fat, and that is a very long and slow metabolic pathway for being broken down into usable energy. And I think too often I completely forget about this, and I'm looking down and I'm thinking, oh God, I'm only going like 15 kilometers an hour. What's going on? And I realise, I've run out of energy, haven't I? I've run out of that glucose. So I'm really trying to stay on top of this now, because once I have some glucose, so when I'm in those situations, I can increase my speed by about 10 kilometers per hour, which is huge. So lots of mints today in the bag, hopefully that will help, and hopefully this will keep me going a bit quicker on these roads. Let's see anyway. Again, I know this is obvious to some people, but this wasn't obvious to me because my background was to do with short, intense bursts of energy in mountain biking. And I was always happy to lose a bit of weight anyway in terms of burning fat. However, I can't have that mentality here, and that was a learning curve for me. But on I plodded. I joined the A49, which is a road that does eventually lead to Warrington, the place where I want to next take a long rest. But I'm not going to travel there all the way on the A49, it would be chaos. But I carried on for a bit longer, and after not long I came across a town which had a hilarious name and an interesting structure. I'm outside Wooferton, which in addition to having an amazing name, has this. It's the UK's last remaining shortwave transmission station. It's huge. It's just a pile of giant wires. I thought it was going to be something to do with radar from space or something. I don't know. But it's still in use today. I think it's been digitalised a bit. But it used to be, or at least still is, I'm not entirely sure, used for transmitting the BBC World Service to the likes of Eastern Europe, Russia and Africa. Yeah, didn't know it existed, just passing. Thought I'd share. Pretty cool. The next stop of the day was a place called Ludlow, though this stop was more planned. I'd always wanted to visit Ludlow because my late uncle would go there often for the food market and speak very highly of it. So I wanted to see what the fuss was about, and it was a lovely place. Lovely architecture, Tudor buildings that I thought, wow, looked great on the outside, but quite wonky. I wouldn't necessarily want to go in there. And an amazing castle by the looks of it, but I was not paying the £9 fee to go in. I've lived in Edinburgh for 6 years and have avoided that castle and its £20 fee. So I treated myself to the market instead. Stopped for a quick bite. Got some nice and healthy things, plums here and a nectarine. And then obviously a Ludlow cake in the jar. Very nice. The man was nice. He said he's just started this business recently. Hoping it kicks off. And then I cut my finger and bled all over his stall. So that's good. But anyway, back on the road. I got off the A49 because I didn't like the amount of traffic, and like me and the man from the Ludlow cake jar company thought it would be best to take these back roads. But, oh, I think I'm regretting it. It is too warm to have these types of hills again. I thought I'd passed all this. And I can't even cool down anymore. My water's all warm. I can't take my gloves off because there's a few points of contact with the bike where you need cushioning, otherwise it's going to hurt like mad after just one day. And one's your feet, the other one's your bum, and the other one's your hands. So I have to wear gloves despite it being 30 degrees. I mean, otherwise a lovely day, but just kill me now. Oh. Alas, I was not granted a merciful death. However, things did ease as the day went on. As you can imagine, these shots are quite time intensive, so I don't do many of them. Could be. Whilst the main roads can be the quickest way to get from A to B, I'm not always a big fan of cycling on them, for various reasons, mostly to do with safety. And one particular issue is potholes or grates, because you haven't got much opportunity to avoid them and swerve them. Every big bang to the bike creates a risk of damage or of something bouncing off, as happened here. Oh, that's not good. How the hell did that come off? Whew. That's not good. And let's be honest, if that had come off slightly further into the middle of the road with that density of traffic going past me, it could have been hit by a car. That's my things destroyed. I was tempted to do a video about this anyway, but that falling off has kind of forced the matter. The biggest risk for me on these roads is because I'm trying to stay on the left, with my cars to pass like that. But this is where you have the grids. I mean, the grids in theory aren't an issue, right? But in reality they sink, they collapse. And sometimes they get fixed, but they often collapse again. And this creates many potholes that I'm trying to avoid. Sometimes I avoid them, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's too dangerous to swerve into the road to avoid them. But they're not really a
priority, I don't think, for councils, because they're more concerned with what the cars experience. And the cars are more to the centre. They don't hit these potholes.
Because of this, I'm keeping all my attention really on these roads, on these grids that are in front of me. Trying to swerve slightly where I can, but not too far into the road if there's a big sunken grid ahead of me. Or preparing myself if I'm going to slam it straight on, and then checking if any damage has occurred to the bike or the luggage. Anyway, I was now cycling to a campsite for the night, but there was one more topic that I thought you might want me to give you an update on before I finished off the video.
I know I haven't really given any updates on the decision I have to make around keeping my bike, because I'm still not sure. I think I'm leaning towards giving her a rest, but she's got one more day to let me know if otherwise. And the past few days in the background, with the big help from my uncle, I've been making other preparations just in case when I hit Warrington. So let's see how she does tomorrow. But I am thinking she might be telling me that she needs a break. Let's see, I'll keep you updated.
Wait a minute. This isn't a campsite. This is someone's front garden. I'm paying £17 for this.